we are very strategized and very structured the way we play because we always follow the rules. We always follow instruction. And this is something that I noticed for the younger players. If there's no clear instruction given, they will get lost.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of Yahoo Footballing Weekly. With me, still slightly croaky Neil Humphreys.
And I'm not so croaky, Chia and Keong. And we have with us Isa Halim, ex-Lions, winner of AFF Cup, Malaysia Cup, Malaysia League,
Singapore Cup,
Singapore League, whatever, winner.
Did we miss any?
Yeah. No, SEA Games.
SEA Games, No, that's very good.
So, I mean, right now he's the head coach for the Active SG Football Academy in Woodlands, as well as a coach for the Singapore Sports Schools.
Yeah.
And last month,
I'm just going to say, I'm very upset with him.
Why?
Because he stole our thunder. Shall I tell you why?
Why?
We are a globally nominated podcast. He's an award winner. He's one step ahead of us.
Right.
What's going on?
He received the Singapore Coaching Medallion Award last month.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Good job.
Congratulations, man.
Tell us about it. How did you win it? What was it for?
I think this is more of the best coaching practices and coaches that inspire the next generation, and of course coaches as well, younger coaches. And I think it's a great honor for me to be nominated.
He's just one of 3 coaches to have won it last year.
And this was at the Global Coach Conference in November. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So again, it's been an honor for me even to be nominated, and to win it is a really high prestige, and I think boils down to not only me but all the coaches in Singapore, all over the world, because I feel that coaches is not much appreciated job. Sadly, sometimes you one day your parents or fans will like you. The next day they will say, "Oh, this coach is not good." So again, this award is of course goes to all the coaches. If I can share with them, I share with them. But again, I understand all your sacrifices, what needed to be done to to make sure that our athletes are at their best form. Yeah.
So you mentioned now you're coaching young footballers, obviously, in sports school and in the Active SG Academy. So now the climate, now the young footballers, their environment, their upbringing, all different from when you are young and when during the Uncle Chu Seng Kui days in the 1970s.
Yes.
It's all different now.
Correct.
So what are the things you do to motivate them, these young footballers? What are the challenges in motivating them and getting them to be up to mark?
Obviously, the time from where I am and now is a lot of different. I always believe that the approach is the key for you to develop these young players. And always at the start of season, if I have a new team, I always ask them what is their goal, why they are here, and where they want to be. And
what kind of answers do you get when they say, why are you here?
So usually they want to play in Europe, they want to play in the national team.
Wow.
So the ambition is there.
Yeah, the ambition is there. So again, we want to make sure that they are clear of what they want, the goals that they want to be. So again, then I will ask them, okay, what do you need? How much are you willing to sacrifice to get there? What does it take to get
and
there?
then that's why overall.
Yeah. So then you can see the different kinds of view, different kinds of reaction of the players. They think it's football is just glamorous sport, and I just play, I score, I celebrate, and I get to Europe. No, it's not all that.
And how old are these kids when you ask them these questions?
13 years old.
Is this just boys or boys and girls? Or?
Boys. For me, I just handle boys. So always we want to make sure that we set the tone right. So if they know that this is their goal and they know that they have to work hard to get it, then they understand the amount of effort they have to put in. But because if they don't know what's their goal, then it's very difficult for us to push them.
Right. So I've got to come in straight away with the cliched question. We are the Kiasu Kings and Queens of Singapore. How do you do it? How do you balance the work, the studies, the revision, the tuition, the computer games, the phone use, all of that every kid in Singapore has to face in 2024? How do you get the balance right?
For us in Singapore Sports School, we have a conducive environment for them to be able to balance both. And of course, at the end of the day, is always back to the question of how much they're willing to sacrifice.
Yes.
So this is something that they always think that it's easy in a sports that you want to make it big. I just train. It's not about just the training, it's the quality of training. So it's important that they understand that. If they want something that bad, they're able to sacrifice something. So again, during my time, I have to sacrifice my friends' time because when they are out enjoying, go cinema, I'm out there for training.
Yep.
Right. So this is something that I always share the experiences that I had. So that they understand what it takes to be at the top level.
That's a great point, actually, because Gary Neville famously said at 16, he
cut off
stopped
time.
all of his friends. He just didn't see any of them at all because he said, I've got friends for the rest of my life. I got one shot to make Manchester United. So he just cut them all off. It takes that kind of sacrifice,
Yes,
Isa.
correct.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so obviously once you see them improving, that's the reward you find that when you see them actually making the step up.
That's the satisfaction. I mean, as a coach, that's what you want to see the player improve. Not only it's easy to work with the best player. Right? Every coach wants to work with the best player. But personally, I felt that if I can see improvement from the players, that is the satisfaction I like.
Yeah.
So
This is what I hear anecdotally. Hung Keong has heard it, and I've heard it from coaches as well. We have a kid. He's good. We put everything into this kid. He gets to 13, 14, and we already start whispering, you could go all the way, Young Lions, Singapore, whatever. But then in the other ear, he's hearing his parents saying, I need to study. I need to do well at school. I need to prioritize. How do you win over the parents? That's the key, isn't it, really? You've got to win over the parents as well because it's a team effort.
I mean, different stakeholders have different part of the development of the players. So this is something that we also must be clear to the parents, and the parents' support is the key in terms of the players' development. So if the parents really think that this is something that is good for them, then they must pursue. And how can the support for them given to the child?
You all must also support them.
Yes. So again, it varies from parent to parent. There are some parents really, if my son can do well, how can you push him further? How can he make it to the next level? But there are some parents, like you mentioned, about studies and all. And as much as possible, we want to get it balanced. So again, this is something that we always explain to the parents as well. If he not able to manage the time, you must able to teach him to manage the time so that he have that balance in terms of studies and sports. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy. And I think we heard schooling mention about it as well, about that sacrifices. And I think it's clear cut. For being an athlete, there's something that you have to sacrifice before you achieve your big goals.
I see.
And what is your role with Unleash the Raw? And what is Unleash the Raw doing to help produce the next generation of footballers?
I think Unleash the Raw, I would say in terms of SFA, my point of view, my standpoint of view of SFA is that
Singapore Football
Academy. Yeah, we want to create a bigger base foundation for players to have access to better coaching, better support, and better football development. So this is where I think the SFA coaches are given a full-time contract for them to be stationed at the school to help the players' development and keep track of the players' development. So in a bigger base and a bigger foundation, I also believe that if we create this right and create the mentality right, it will build up to a better player at each level.
Last question I wanted to ask you about youth football before we move on is, I give you a magic wand. You got one wish. What is the one thing that you think is missing from Singapore youth football that you would, if you could, you would change it now? What do we need to change? Or is there, maybe it's not just one thing. I don't know. It's probably many things. But
If one thing that I could change, I think the match exposure. I believe we don't have it. If you look at nation, the Southeast Asia, country like Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, Vietnam, even Indonesia, they able to get all these players to expose themselves 1 year, 2 years.
Great point.
We don't have the luxury of to do that. So in terms of international exposure, we are always lacking behind. So how do we get there? So at the end of the day, I can have a team that at a 15 years old beat an under 21 in Singapore. But the moment we play in the same age group against Thailand, for example, we cannot match them. So why?
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I think the jump up from youth level to actually national age group and eventually the senior level, I think now the gap is getting quite big, right? I mean, in terms of, we need to really close the gap right now.
I mean, the gap, we are a bit far from everyone now.
Yeah.
So to be honest, but how do we manage the gap? How do we close the gap is important. So again, SFA is creating the foundation. I believe each stakeholder need to understand their role and responsibility, where they are in terms of the development of the child.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Match exposure, I like that.
Yeah,
the
I like
young
that.
kids need more matches at international level, elite level. Do you agree with Isa? Let us know. Send all your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Now, one thing you didn't say, which I'll say because I wrote a column about it this week, is playing spaces for Singaporean kids. As those listening and watching will know, several stories, including mine,
It's quite a big
went
discussion
viral this
in-
week because we all saw the images of the street soccer pitch in Bedok, I think it was, closed down. We saw the metal contraption around the basketball hoops. I think that was in Woodlands. Then there was another pitch, I think in
decks,
Woodlands,
which are-
void decks put up. And then you've got this hostile architecture, they call it, where they put nails and barbed wire down. So,
Barbed wire, okay.
void decks end up looking like, prison camps to keep kids
Wow,
away.
a bit extreme, but okay, we get the point.
You get the point.
Yeah.
So, a lot of discussion this week. Singaporeans are running out of places to play. And then when they do play at a void deck or nearby at a legitimate futsal court,
There's intolerance among residents that, hey, I mean, they really come down and say too noisy. Obviously, there are some issues that go on that they play over past the playing time. The playing time was like 9:30 and then they played like past to 11:30 p.m. There's some issues on both sides.
Yeah.
But
I wrote the column, and Fabian Kwok, the former player who just recently retired, he wrote on my column, he said, it's a rare sight to see kids gathering at the parks after school or around the neighbourhood just to play. Once I sat at the void deck having seen a group of primary school kids playing football, and just a few minutes in, a passerby stops and reminds them of the signs that football isn't allowed. The boy voiced back his opinion. Here cannot play, there cannot play. Where can I play near my house? And that's the question, Isa. I mean, apart from Active SG, very affordable courses around the country, where can kids play? Is it becoming a real problem in Singapore?
I mean, as much as we don't want to admit it, it is. I mean, I started growing up playing in void deck. Even when I was early days in the national team, I still play under the void deck. I mean, I know we have gone through the cases of running away from the law. I mean, this is something that everyone cannot escape.
yeah.
So again, I believe that the culture, the sporting culture, it boils down to everyone. In terms of accepting the noise, of course, we also must understand sometimes they need the sleep. If they go beyond the time limit, then it's of course the wrong to the players. We must work together, and I believe that the minister all have been stepping up in terms of trying to resolve this matter, creating space for them, hopefully soon, so that they have a safe space for them to play.
And I know, I agree totally. And also agree that, but I also feel that the measures that they take after people complain also need not be so
Extreme.
draconian, so extreme. Just shut down the whole street soccer court. I mean, you could very well come down after 9:30 and then say, hey, no, please leave right now. You are disturbing the residents. And then if you do it enough time, I think the players on the pitch might feel, okay, I think it's best that we don't come here, don't play after 9:30 or something like that. But to just shut down the actual venues, I think it sends a wrong message. It sends that, all right, we only listen to the residents' complaints, and then we don't think about what it means for young kids who want to play any kind of sports in Singapore. So I think the town councils, they should gauge what kind of the right amount of measures that will strike a balance between listening to the complaints of the residents, but at the same time still allow room for young kids to at least play a sports here.
Could not agree more. Singapore can't always take the easy option. Sometimes we have to let our kids play and be creative. The easiest way to control any society is just to shut everything down. If you don't want kids to make noise, shut down all the sports facilities. If you don't want kids to drown, shut down swimming pools or don't let them swim in the sea. You know, if you don't want kids to fall off the stage, close down the theatres. You know, we have to take risks. Life is about risk. If kids don't take risks in sports, in arts, in school, in life, then AI is going to destroy them. I cannot be any more blunt than that, all right? We have to let our kids take a few risks, spontaneous free play, right? Let them pick up teams, let them join sides, let them improvise a game.
Yeah.
If you do not give kids these improvisational skills, they will not make it in the workplace. I really believe it's as serious as that. And I think our Singaporean kids down the line, I'll be blunt, other hungrier nations will run rings around them. It's already happening now in a football sense. It will eventually happen in an economic sense where kids are sharper, quicker, hungrier, feistier. They're going to leave our kids behind. And I really feel that.
That point when you mentioned that the culture and if they have no freedom to express themselves, actually from my view and my view alone, I just have a look at all the national teams, you know, when they play. Actually, it reflects how they were brought up, how the culture is. In general, when the time I used to play, we know in terms of individually, Indonesia, Malaysia have one of the best individual players, but because they sometimes not able to follow the instruction, they didn't manage to win like what we did. And for us, if you look our kind of play, we are very strategized and very structured the way we play, because we always follow the rules, we always follow instruction. And this is something that I noticed for the younger players. If there's no clear instruction given, they will get lost.
Such a good point. Yeah. Such a good point.
That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it gets more and more if you stop them from playing this kind of courts. Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say on it, and as always, we'd love to hear your views. I don't want to keep hearing this excuse about space and residential areas as if we're the only country on earth where kids play next to residential areas.
Talk about what Sasi said.
Sasi Kumar posted a photograph of kids playing football in Spain next to a high-rise block.
The context is Sasi Kumar now is raising his kids in Spain because the kids are in the Atletico Madrid youth team.
I covered the World Cup in Brazil. I saw kids playing in the favela next to housing. I covered the Euros in Portugal. I saw kids playing football next to high-rise. When I grew up on a housing estate in East London, we played next to houses. We played in the streets. We played on tiny patches of grass beside people's houses. The only difference between us and Singapore wasn't size, wasn't residential communities. It was tolerance.
Yes.
There was a greater tolerance to let kids play and to have a bit of fun. And yes, I occasionally broke a window and I got punished and I had to fix the window. I'm not condoning that in any way, but it happened. The point was there was a greater tolerance, and we have to make a serious decision now. What kind of children do we want to produce in the next generation? I want tough, feisty, resilient, improvisational kids who can do what Lionel Messi does, who goes on a football pitch and goes, bing, I'm going to do that. These are skills that are learned in the favela, on the void deck, on the futsal pitch, and everywhere else.
Absolutely.
There you go. What do you think? Send all your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Right, let's wrap this up. Asian Cup is kicking off.
It's starting off, I think, 12th of January, which is Friday, at Doha. I think there are how many teams? 24 or 16 teams around there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the biggest, sort of like the biggest regional tournament in Asia. So I think the usual suspects will do well again: Japan, South Korea, Australia, maybe Saudi Arabia also, maybe Iran. But I'm not sure. Do you think there'll be any dark horses appearing?
I'll get to Malaysia. I'm going to get to Malaysia shortly. No, I agree with you. Not really a dark horse. I'm going to go with South Korea. I didn't realise South Korea hadn't won it in more than 60 years.
Amazing,
For some reason, I assumed they'd won it. They hadn't. But I think with Jurgen Klinsmann there, and I'll admit it, I say it every week, I have a massive soft spot. I'm slightly obsessed now with Son Heung-min. I watched him again recently when I went back to London. I went to Tottenham and I watched him play against Bournemouth. Utterly dominated the game. I love him. I love everything about him. I love the way he conducts himself.
Yep.
I think they've got Ballon d'Or nominees in their squad as well, not just Son Heung-min.
The defender, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
So with those guys, Jurgen Klinsmann, I know they're not tipped to win, but just for the hell of it, they're my dark horse. I go with South Korea.
I had actually thought that maybe Thailand or Vietnam could do something, but I think they had a really bad lead up to the tournament.
Yeah.
I think Thailand had quite a few injuries. Chanatip, I think, is injured. And then some player actually said, I don't want to play for the team. I want to go on trial at the J-League side. So there was some controversy there. And Vietnam also had their own injury problems. So I don't think they might. I mean, you never know. But I think that opens up for Malaysia to become maybe the top Southeast Asian nation in the tournament.
What do you think, Isa? What's your thoughts on the Asian Cup?
I will go with Japan. I think in terms of the Japan, I mean they are strong team, favorites to win actually.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and not only that, because I've been following their youth development in terms of your youth national team as well.
Right.
The under 23, under 17. I mean, the under 17 didn't win the World Cup, but the way they play and under 23, they are developing very, very well. They are getting the result.
There is a recent viral video on social media which shows the secondary school side of Japan.
Yes, yeah.
Playing one-touch football from the one end on the pitch to the other, and then scoring in one of the under 15 or
Yes.
under 17.
Actually, they are promoting very, very well in university football, which is a very high level football game in there, and you can see that they have it right in terms of the plans that they had.
It's all part of their 100-year plan
yes, correct,
for Japanese football. Yeah.
So and somehow, I mean, to say it's slowly shaping up well for them. And you see, would love to see them to be able to one day win World Cup.
Yeah, I would love it. it. What I really want to see at this Asian Cup is Malaysia doing very well. I really want Malaysia to do well. It makes me laugh when Singapore says, what is the template for Singapore football? Malaysia. But then you say, what is the current template for Malaysian football? It was Singapore when you played. If you look at the Malaysian team now, I see Reddy's team. 10, 12 years ago. A mix of experience, naturalised players. I mean, I was just looking at their midfield before coming in here. They've got a combined age of 116 years old with Insa, Brendan Gunn and Paulo Jose. A veteran trio in the engine room. That was the same as Reddy's team. Then up front, you've got the veteran Darren Lock. And we used to have Duric, of course. Yeah. And then you've got young feisty fellas like this fella. You've got Isa Halim, and then you've got a real star, Arif Aiman, on the other flank. So if you put the Malaysian team together as it is now, I see Reddy's team 10, 12 years ago. Experienced, battle-hardened, a good mix of local and naturalised players who I think could pull off an upset.
Yeah, I think they've already started well in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. They beat Kyrgyzstan and they beat Taiwan. So they are unbeaten so far in the World Cup qualifiers. And that is just in November and October. So they are on a good form. And the new coach, Kim Pan-Gon, is a South Korean. I think he has... I read a sort of like a interview feature of him on the FIFA website. And then he said, I just tell the players that they must think on the pitch, react as well on the pitch when it comes to defense, when it comes to attack. Read the scenario better.
Everything Isa said.
Yeah, everything is.
Improvise on the pitch.
So improvise and be quick to react when things happen. And that's how they managed to sort of build a team. He's been there about 1 year. And the team slowly builds, and then they have a strong understanding of how they work on the pitch.
Actually, for Kim, I from the interviews I seen him, what struck me the most is that the confidence he brings to the team.
Yeah.
So this is important for a national team coach. You must have that charisma, that confidence, and this will bring the same amount of belief to the team. Because at the end of the day, as a national team coach, you can't be coaching the thing, how to pass, where to pass.
No.
It's about they already know what to do. It's just that can you buy in their trust? Can you make them believe that they are the best in the world.
Yeah.
So these are, I think, the caliber of a national team coach needed, especially.
Absolutely. A real template for Singapore. Just a quick word on their star man, this Arif Aiman. Do you know much about him? He's 21. He's already had 20 plus caps for Malaysia. He's doing a great job at JDT. The coach at JDT calls him a genius. And he's a real star in the making, this boy.
I seen a couple of JDT games. Obviously, he needs to. The next step for him is need to go beyond from where he is now, and then to make it big. And this also will open the door for the Malaysian footballers. He is the main star for the Malaysia, and we would love to see he's doing well and knocking on the door on bigger clubs.
Yeah. Okay. Quick final prediction. Go down the line. Who's winning the Asian Cup?
Japan.
Korea, Sun Heung-min, don't let me down. As always, let us know what you think. Who's going to win the Asian Cup? Is Malaysia going to lay down the template for Singapore? Send all your comments to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_NY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Award-winning coach, Isa Halim. Thank you very much for coming on.
Nominated podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't stop talking about
Wish
it.
you luck.
We won't stop.
Thanks. So what's next for you now? Back to coaching with...
Yes, coaching with sports school. Yeah.
And if anybody wants to get involved or sign up for courses, what should they do? Where should they go?
Courses. I mean, sports. Coach SG. Coach SG has been a great platform for me in terms of learning and improving myself. It's been a great platform, and of course, they also is the one who have this medallion award to recognize coaches' effort. I think this is something that is good for coaches to feel that all their hard work and sacrifices been recognized.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
We need more coaches.
That's right. We need more coaches like this guy. Follow in the award-winning coach's footsteps and follow us next week. See what I did? See what I did? All right. And we'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Take care.
Take care.